Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. In this video, we'll see how we do the exception handling for our real world projects. We'll be discussing try catch, throw, rethrow, and finally blocks. So let's start with an example. This is a simple sequence I've created. So let's take this type into and try to write something on Notepad. It might be any activity which you are doing in your project. So I've opened a notepad. Let me indicate it. And let's write here, hello. Okay. And let's set the timeout as 3 seconds. And I don't want to open the notepad if it is not already opened. So let's come to this open property and select as never. Also, let's set the timeout as 3 seconds. Right. Okay. So this is our sequence. Okay, let's put it inside a try catch. Okay, so if any error comes inside the try, then it will come to catch. Okay, let's define an exception here, system.exception, uh, which will catch all kind of errors. And let's put a log message here. It is very critical to put the log message in the catch so that you will be able to know where exactly you got the error. Okay, and let's set the level as error, and let's mention the reason of the exception. We can use exception.message. Right, now let's try to run it first. Since the notepad is already open, it will type on the notepad. Okay, now let's assume that notepad is not open. Then what will happen? It will throw an exception which will come here in the catch block. Okay, and you will give a message here which will give some information about the exception. Okay, now let me take another workflow. Let's make another sequence here. So in a project, you will have multiple workflows, multiple sequences. So I'm just trying to mimic that here. So let's see, in this one, you can downloading some files from a website. Okay. So let's say, okay, let's say save something, save user details. Or let's do one thing, give it a name, search images. This workflow will search some images on uh, your browser. That could be Chrome or any browser which you are using. Okay, so let's take an activity here. Let's take a click activity. Okay, and show it our Chrome web browser. And let me also set the timeout and also the open property. I don't want to open it if it is not already open. And for the click, what we want to click, let's click this images label. Okay, let's take a strict selector here and confirm. Okay, so this is for clicking on the images. Now let me put this in a try catch. Okay, I'm just dragging it inside it. And in the catch, let's set a log here, like the previous one, which will give us the error details, right? Okay, now this is a main workflow. Okay, so a main will have multiple workflows. Okay, so let me just drag these two here. This is the one, and this is the second one. Okay, now, so these are the workflow level try catches. Okay, now for example, if you have got any error in this particular sequence, right, you want to notify user about it, you want to send an email. Okay, so you can first put the log here, and then you can add a send email sequence. It could be some sequence which is sending an email to user mentioning the error details. Okay, same thing you can do here also in the second workflow. But if you do it like this at multiple places, it will be very difficult to maintain the project. Okay, so what we do is we propagate the error, and a particular point you can handle it. You can keep some activity like sending the email. Okay, so that I'm going to show you now. So what you can do is, instead of sending email in each catches, what you can do is you can use a rethrow activity here. What this log will do, for first it will log the error message. So for you to troubleshoot the error in logs, it will be easier for you to see where exactly we got the error. Okay, so this log message is very, very critical, right? So let's use this write note activity. Okay, I have closed the notepad, it is not available right now. So let's use an activity here which is called rethrow. What rethrow will do exactly, it will rethrow the previously caught error. Okay, now since our notepad is closed, we'll get the error that notepad is not available. Okay, we'll log the message, and this rethrow is going to rethrow that error again so that it does not go ahead. Okay, after this activity we might have some other activities. Okay, so in case of error we should not perform those activities, so we should come out from this sequence. So rethrow will help us doing that. Okay, so it will rethrow, and then we'll come here. This particular workflow is going to throw the error using the rethrow. Okay, so here to handle it again we have to add a try catch, right? So let me add it here, right, and put those two sequences inside it. These two sequences, one is for the notepad, writing notepad, and one is for the searching the images. Okay, now in catch what we have to do is we can use same system dot exception to catch all kind of errors. Now here you can put the activity to sending the email. Okay, for the demo purpose, what I'm doing is I am just using a log message here, and I will say that sending email to user, right? So you can assume it as a sequence, as a workflow to send the email to user to notify them about the error. Okay, now let's run it. So you will see that since notepad is not available, it will throw the error. but will not get a weird box because a weird error box because we have already handled the error, right? So you can see that in the right notepad, it has thrown the error which has come here, and we have uh, used the exception dot message to write the exception details, which is here. No open windows found for notepad, right? Now when we rethrow it, the second message is for the rethrow. So when we rethrow it, it will come here outside of this particular sequence. Okay, here it will, the error will come here, then it will come to this catch, right? And an email will be sent to the user through this one. Now the advantage of doing such arrangement is, for example, if you have 5 different workflows, you will be able to handle error for all 5 of them. Now, for example, let me open the notepad here so that it will be able to type on notepad. Right, this is the notepad, and I'm just closing this Chrome so that it will not be able to uh, click on this images which we have just configured. Right, I'm closing it. Okay, now, and also we'll have to add a rethrow here in the search images. We have not added it till now, so let me add it. I'm running it. So you will see that it will type on notepad this time, and but since the browser window is not available, there will get the error now, right? And you'll see that it says no open windows found for Chrome, right? And our handling is same, sending email to user, right? So we need not to handle it multiple times, right? In the main, we can have 10 workflows and just will send the email, will handle all 10 and will send the email, right? Now, one more thing, we have one more activity that is called throw. So what is the use of throw activity? So throw is used to throw an exception. It could be a business exception, it could be a system exception. So for example, you are working on an invoice, okay, and then you have to extract a total amount, right? So total amount should be a numeric value, right? But suppose that it is not a numeric value, it is some string, some text, right? So you cannot go ahead in that case. You will have to notify user. So this is a kind of business exception where you can't go ahead with the process. So you will notify user and tell him that the value is not numeric, so that you can skip that particular transaction, right? So let me show you that with an example here. I'm just closing, I'm just deleting this one, the Chrome one, just deleting it. Okay, now we have an empty try, right? Now let's assume that you are extracting some data, like I have said before, from invoice, right? And you found that it is not as per the requirements. You want to raise an exception. Okay, so what you can do is you can use this throw activity. Let's type here throw, right? And here you will have to define the exception. So you will say new. If it is a system exception, you can use this system exception, right? If it is a business exception, you can use the business one. So as per the example, let's use this business rule exception. And then here you have to give the message, what you want to give. So let's type here, like I gave example before, total amount is not numeric. Okay. So what will happen is, once you define it and there might be multiple activities after this, right? You will be adding the figures and you will be putting them somewhere, you will be loading them in some website. So we should not go ahead after this. Once you identify a business exception, we should not go ahead, right? And let me also put some more activities here for you to understand. Let me add a write line, like I'm saying escape business exception. Okay, so here there might be multiple activities, but we should never come here. We should throw exception here only, right? Then it will go into your catch. You will write it here, and then it will be rethrown, and then it will come to main, where you can you can notify the user. Okay, so let me run it. Let me save it first. I've already deleted the Chrome activity, so now there is no Chrome. I'm just running it. So since we have our notepad activities, it will write on notepad, then it will throw the exception. You see, our business exception, total amount is not numeric, right? And it is handled now in our main sending email to user. So our email is sent, right? Now here, I want to tell you one more scenario of throw, how, in what scenario we can use the throw. Now think that in this try, you are typing, you are searching something on Chrome, okay? But you are not able to, the selector is not found, right? So in the catch, we'll get a message that selector is not found, and then some technical information which might not be useful for user. So what we want to do is we want to show user a simple message that he or she can understand easily, right? So instead of giving this error message, what we can do is we can use this throw activity, and we can define the error here, new exception. Let's take it as system exception because the selector not found, and it is a kind of system exception, not a business one. We can say not able to search image, right? So you will see that if I come here in the main, right, where we are sending the email, and let's add one more log here to log the message. And let's give it an error log level and simply the exception dot message, right? So let me run it here, run this. You will see that initially we'll get the technical error which will be logged, but to user will show some simple message, right? You see that here the actual error was total amount is not numeric, right? Here in this try, the actual error was total amount is not numeric, right? But we are not showing it to user. We logged that message here for the troubleshooting purpose. You can see it here, total amount is not numeric. Now to show the user, we are using a simple we are using a simple exception here. We are using not able to search image. So you can see here not able to search image, and then we'll send the email to user mentioning this error in the email. So this is another use case of throw activity, right? Now let's discuss about this finally block here. Okay, so it will be executed whether you have an exception or not in both the cases. So how we can use it? We can use it for cleaning purpose, like you can close all applications here, you can put that sequence here, or you can also use it for logging purpose. So let me give you an example how you can use it, right? So let's first go to this catch block where we will catch all the exception from our process. This is the main, so we are going to catch all our process exceptions here, right? Okay, then next thing you can do is, let's take a variable here. Let's take a variable that is kind of bool exception. So this will be a flag for us to see if we have got any exception in the process or not. So if the workflow comes to catch, that means we have got the exceptions. Then let's set that flag to true. Bool exception, this will be true. Right. Now finally, let's add an effectivity and check if the bool exception is true. If it is true, that means we have got the exception and process failed. So we can put a log message here saying that process failed. Right, and if it is false, that means there is no exception. Then we can say the process successful. Let me just copy and paste it here. You can use Ctrl C, Ctrl V to copy paste activities. Right, so here is failed, here is success. Let me save all. Now, since in our second workflow, we are throwing an exception, right? You have seen that we are throwing a business exception, right? So we are going to get log here, the process failed. Okay, let's test it. I'm running it. See, process failed, right? Because we have thrown the exceptions. So email has been sent and process got failed. Now if I delete all those exceptions, I'm just deleting this row from here, right? Just saving the workflow and running it again. Now you will see that it will be success because there are no exceptions in the process. You can see it in the log, right? Process success. So this is the way how you can use throw, rethrow, and finally, and this try catch in your exception handling scenarios. That's all for this video. Thank you very much for your time. Please subscribe and like the videos to get me motivated. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.